Before we start our meeting today, we're going to have the pledge, and that'll be given by Fran Schommel, Board of Works member, and we're going to have an invocation given by Reverend Wayne Blair. I'd like for everybody to please stand. Fran.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Wayne, if you would offer our invocation, please.
Father, we come before you. We feel the need to ask for help. Help for us individually, help for us collectively. We pray, God, that you will give us the guidance that we need, the courage we need to make decisions, and give us the ability to think things through, because these are things that we need, and we seek help from you on these matters. We ask, God, that you bless this city, that you bless the people who serve it. We also ask, God, that the people get behind those who are serving, that they appreciate what is being done, the effort that is being put in to all of these things. And we ask it in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Very good.
Call the meeting to order today. First order of business will be roll call.
Ron Coldiron,
Here.
Mike Bishop,
Present.
Leonard Urban,
Here.
Fran Schommel,
Present.
Jane Oakley. Present.
Let the record show that all Board of Works members are present. We have a quorum and we can do business. Ask everybody to turn their cell phone on vibrate or off completely. I welcome you all here today. It's a nice pretty day outside for once. I don't have to say it's cold or raining, just real nice. And we appreciate that. So we'll have the minutes of the May 5th, 2014 meeting.
Mayor, I move we accept the minutes as so stated from the Monday, May 5th meeting.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second to accept the minutes as they were sent out to the members. Are there any additions or corrections? None appearing. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Minutes are accepted. Let's go to new business. Item A, request for the Fair Parade on July the 27th. Miranda Spencer.
Wow.
Man, it's hard to believe that's around there already.
Yes, it is. I know, when I got the call, I was like, whoa. This is my first time doing the Fair Parade, so this is all completely new to me. So I came in last week and got on the agenda, and we would like to hold it on the 27th. I did speak to them about the construction, so we are aware, that we will have to take a little bit of a different route.
No, we don't have to.
Okay.
We've negotiated last Wednesday and we'll be able to use that parade route. There's no
Okay.
problem.
Good.
Okay, what time are you gonna have the parade?
9 a.m.
In the morning?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's always been around 1 or 2. That's Sunday,
Set up
know.
time 9.
Set up
Set
is at 9.
Parade's at 1.
Setup is at 9, the parade is at 1, yes.
1, I was gonna say, because you got church in the
Yes.
morning.
Mayor, am I correct? You said Grand Avenue will be...
Yep, everything's okay, I got it,
Okay, that's
okay. Yeah, we will not be able to use 21st Street West, but we'll have East, but we'll have 21st Street West open, and we will be able to line up there, and we'll be able to use Grand Avenue North.
Okay.
Okay, no problem. Next year's going to be the problem. We're going to tear up Grand Avenue. So, I don't see any problem with it unless you guys do.
I move that we approve the Fair Parade for July the 27th of this year.
Second, please.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. You got it.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We got a request for sewer and weed liens to be waived at 605 Summit. Nancy Foster, that should have been under old business, but Nancy, they moved you up. Nancy?
She's on here.
She's not here.
Okay. I think Lisa's got the information on that, do you
Do I?
not?
I don't know.
It says.
We got it in our packet.
We have something there.
It's in
Someone
all
want to read that for me? Julie said she had worked it out. Okay, regarding property 605 Summit, if the Board of Works waives 5919, then the county will waive the penalties. The stormwater fees were put on between the time from Commissioner sale, April 24, 2012, and the transfer of the property October 1st. So what Julie's saying, we should remove the 5919. She didn't own the property at the time, we shouldn't charge her.
Okay, I'll make the motion that we remove the sewer weed lien.
Second.
Okay, we've researched this, and this is the way we want to handle it, because it is a commissioner sale, and it puts it back on the tax roll.
Yes, sir.
Any discussion on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Request for St. Gabriel's Relay for Life Bucket Drive on June the 28th. Karen Lippincott. Hey, Karen.
Hi.
Who's that lady with you? You got to give her her name.
This is Megan Ratliff.
Oh, I'm
She's
glad.
also
Hi,
on
Megan.
our St. Gabriel team and a member of St. Gabriel Church. Our St. Gabriel Church and school has a team, of course, and we want to have a bucket drive or boot drive like Birdie's team is doing, but we want to do it on June 28th. And because of the construction, I think we were told that 6th and Central and 6th and Grand would be the two
It works better
destinations.
because that's tore up and you only have a three-way street there.
That's what I understand. And probably, we're thinking from 8 to 2, but we might make it 9 to 2.
Is it available? It's available, guys. Gals.
Do some people usually do a rain date? I don't know that.
No, we usually just set it up and
If it's,
it's raining, come back and we'll give you another date.
okay.
Because the
Okay.
calendar gets full.
There's people that apply in between those dates, and the reason we have to do it that way.
I understand.
I move we approve the St. Gabriel Relay for Light Bucket Drive for June the 28th at 6th and Grand and 6th and Central.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. You're on your way.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You need to call David Job over at the street department. He'll give you the equipment to do it. You gotta wear your vest, your yellow vest, and put that cone out in front.
Oh, David
And you gotta
Job,
be
the street-
identified who you are that's collecting, okay?
Okay. Thank you for that information.
Okay, advertising. I had a young man come in the office the other day. They're doing advertising benches around the state of Indiana. He wanted to, basically, all he wants to know are there locations that we would allow him to put them, and then he'll go out and sell them to the business people. They kind of look like that. Does anybody in the audience have that? Did you
No,
give it?
sir, I didn't
You
make
got an
that.
extra one?
No, sir.
Here, take this one.
No, here, you can take mine. I saw them the other day. Pass them around. What he's asking, are there any locations that the city would be willing to allow him to have an advertising bench? Now, I told him to go talk to the people. Have you found an interest from business people that they want to do this?
No, sir, I didn't get that far with it. I did choose 5 locations that I thought would be a good use for both the pedestrians and would have enough traffic count to support an advertisement and do the advertiser well too. They're in the back.
I know you're not away, so where are they?
You remember mine, all the photo.
So I chose East 5th Street at Northeastern Avenue on the northwest corner of the intersection.
Next page, there's a map there.
The ad will be facing westbound traffic. East 5th Street, right across the street there, Eastern Ave, right in front of the new Hardee's. West 3rd Street at Vine, that would be out in front of the Speedway. And West 5th Street at Western Ave, in front of the Senior Center, I believe it is. And West 4th Street at Vine, which would be just to the right of the entrance to the Dollar General store. And I was trying to choose locations which appeared to me to all be in the city right away.
Hey, and I think when you are saying Vine Street, that's Central Avenue, not Vine Street?
Is it central?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I put stars on the map, that might help. And before I would do anything, and then I took pictures of kind of before and after to give you an idea of what it would look like. Those sidewalks are all really big. Looks like there'd be more than enough room for any access of folks with special needs.
You say you've done this in other cities?
Yes, ma'am. Presently, I have benches in West Milton, Ohio, Phillipsburg, Ohio. I have permission from Union City, Ohio, but I haven't placed any benches out there yet.
Are you at liberty to discuss pricing, what these cost?
Yes, sir. It's driven by the traffic count, and you have a lot of vehicles that go through here, the price would probably be about $125 a month per head,
For a bench.
per bench. Yes,
A
sir.
month?
Yes, sir.
And how do you get the traffic count?
I use the Indiana Department of Transportation's numbers. So, and I have a few numbers if you're interested in hearing them.
And you own the benches?
Yes, ma'am. I am entirely responsible for the bench. I'm a one-employee company. I do it all. I find the locations. I sell the ads. I manage everything. I'm entirely responsible for the benches. I have liability insurance on the benches. The only thing that I ask for is space to place them.
You would give a certificate of liability to the city then.
I can provide that, yes.
And when you say you're totally responsible, vandalism,
Yes, ma'am.
when they are tagged?
They are covered for that as well
Okay.
with my insurance policy, but also I try very hard to pick cities where hopefully I don't have to worry about that. But my customers are my advertisers, and I want my customers to be happy. So as soon as I would be made aware of something like that, that becomes my highest priority, to get that looking right and keep that bench in service. There's
One of the concerns I had, I asked him who was going to advertise on these benches, because I wouldn't want to take a competitive business and put the competitor out in front of his business. I think we would get in big trouble if we did something like that. He doesn't know because he hasn't sold them, but are you careful not to do that?
I guard that very carefully, because not only could it draw some attention to you, but it would probably put me out of business very quickly.
Put a Walgreens drugstore in front of a CVS, I wouldn't like that.
No, and I wouldn't either. And I don't do that. And so far, all of my ads, what I try to do are use local folks, and I don't put even a local competitor in front of another person's place. I don't do that. But as you can see, there are pictures there of some of my advertisers. It's mainly, the power of these ads are for small business that are just maybe a block off of the main street where the commuters usually drive through, or folks who may not even have a storefront. A lot of real estate agents and service industries such as lawn control people, plumbers, electricians and stuff. This gets them out there where folks can see that, hey, you know, they're here too. So that's who I go after.
What's your thoughts, board?
Is this a contract you enter into with the city, or we just give you permission, and what's the duration? If it's not successful for you, or it becomes a problem with us, at what point can we say, this doesn't look like it's a good relationship here?
Whenever you're ready. And there's a little bit of that for me too, because if I put the bench out, and I would start with one, I do them one at a time. I put one out, if it sells, then I consult with everybody and we talk about the next location. The ads are for 6 months at a time. I do have a few folks that will buy an ad for 12 months at a time, but most of the time folks will just go 6 months. The only thing I would ask, if we decide that it's not mutually beneficial for us, would be to let any existing ad remain until it ends.
Is that in a contract with us?
We can write up a memorandum of understanding, absolutely, or a contract, or however you'd like to do it.
Chamber of Commerce, are you, talk to any of your people about
I
this?
just remember when we.
Come on up front, you
I
can't
just
sit,
remember when we had them downtown before.
up front so we can see and hear you.
All the way up.
Nothing against you, but I remember when we had them downtown before, it kind of was an eyesore. So, it's up to you guys, and against, nothing against you. So as long as you keep them up
Mine
fresh
are-
and updated and.
One of the things that I run up against are the folks who have tried to do this before. I spend a considerable amount of money on my benches. They're completely recycled material. I'm very proud of them. So you may see that if you see one of my benches, you'll realize that it's nothing like you've seen before. And I'm very proud and picky of them, and there's no one that's going to touch them but me. I give you my word. It'll be to your
And then what about the
satisfaction.
property owner, wouldn't they have to have them?
This is all on public property.
I have also had incidents where, even though I had permission from cities or townships to place them in city right away, the business owner was just absolutely against it, other than personal reasons, and I've relented every time. I'm not gonna It's not good for me or anyone
Folks,
else.
what we could do here, he's asked for 5 locations. I could assign a committee to go look at these locations, check with the property owner, and see what it's gonna do. We can approve it today and try one, or we can deny it. What would you like to do?
Well, I'm
Mayor,
looking at these, they're not gonna,
I'm
there's a
sorry.
couple there's some that you're not gonna find a property owner.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They're city-owned is what they are.
Okay, yes, there was one or two that wasn't. And to that person, if a new business came in and took the property and they didn't like it, I would ask the same favor, just let the lease expire that I have with my advertiser, and then I'd remove it on that date.
Mayor, I'd like to say, I'm not opposed to an aesthetic bench downtown. I'm not really excited about the commercializing the advertisement of it, nothing against you. I just don't think the essence of advertising that low on the ground is gonna enhance the city any. And personally, I get tired of everywhere I turn, somebody's trying to sell me something. It just, it kinda gets aggravating.
I do
Nothing
too.
against your
I
company,
understand.
that has nothing personal.
I understand.
We have
I don't really think it would enhance the downtown at all, I really don't, or even these corners. That's my opinion.
I just think, Your Honor, it's something that we don't need. It's just another worry and another hassle.
Fran?
I'm really not opposed to it. I guess it would be nice for people that are walking or something to have a place to stop. The city's not getting anything out of this, so, I mean, there's no fee, is there?
There are no charges to you, but I would return 10% of the advertising revenue to the city. With 5 benches, you're looking at probably $350 every 6 months, so a little less than $1,000 a year. And the convenience comes to the citizens, where they have a place to sit, and it also can help your local businesses generate more income. So it comes back around in that way. And lastly, I would say that I'm also very in tune with you with too much advertising. So if we do 1, 2, or 3, or if you do 1, I had permission in 2 cities to place more benches than I did, but I stopped because it was, if you get too many, it is an eyesore, and also folks don't look at them, so it doesn't do my advertisers any good. Once there's so many of them that people block them out, then I'm not helping anybody. So I'm very in tune with that as well. I understand your concern.
I got one comment out there. Was there anybody else out there wanting to comment on this? You want to comment? Come on up front.
I think if you guys decide to go with these, I think it should be only local advertising only. Because we have enough advertising from Richmond and so on and so forth.
That's what it would be anyway, wouldn't
If you
it?
decide to do that,
That's who I target
keep it local.
aggressively.
Yeah, that's what it would be anyway.
And that partially also determines how many benches I have in a town, because if I can't get any local interest, then that means I'm in the wrong place. So that's who I go for. All of my advertisers right now in my 2 towns, they are all for those 2 towns.
That's all my concern is, just make sure it's all local advertising.
And that's what I'm trying to promote.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else out there? Okay, are you ready to make a decision? I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion, Your Honor, that we deny this request because I just don't think it's going to benefit us any.
Is there a second?
Yes.
Got a motion and a second? Any further discussion?
Nothing personal.
No.
Okay, roll
Thank you
call
for your
vote.
time.
Ron Coldiron,
No.
Mike Bishop.
No, wait.
No, wait.
Wait a minute, you're voting wrong.
I'm sorry, what was, I don't know.
Okay,
what
you
was
said
the
roll call vote.
The request is,
To
or
deny?
the motion is that we deny it, so you want to vote yes or no?
Yes, I'm
Okay,
sorry, I
okay.
wasn't paying attention, so I'm
I'm
sorry.
not
Start
telling you
over?
how to vote, I just,
No,
I knew you
no,
were.
Yes,
that's-
you are.
We'll start over.
Yes.
Ron Coldiron.
Yes.
Yes. Mike Bishop.
Yes.
Leonard Erman.
Yes.
Fran Schammel.
No.
Jane Oakley.
Yes.
Okay, what do we have?
4 yeses, 1 no.
Okay, it's denied.
Thank you
Thank
again.
you so much for coming in.
Thanks for coming in.
Okay, Main Street loan request, Katrina Bailey.
Okay, I hope you guys are nice to be able to have.
Depends on what you got.
Epic Enterprise LLC, they are the people that purchased the old Fifth Third building, or where the Community Education Coalition was. They are going to be putting about $65,000 into that building, and they have submitted a request for a revolving loan, $35,000 at 2% interest for 5 years. We would be able to put the lien, we'd have the first, what's it called?
Right of refusal?
Well,
No.
First lien.
if you're gonna
First
take a
lien.
mortgage,
The first lien.
Or a note and a mortgage,
Wow.
I just want to do a mortgage lien.
well, you want a promissory note and a mortgage, they go together.
So I need to request from you guys the ability to loan them $35,000 for a 5-year loan.
There's no mortgage on that building
There's
now?
no mortgage.
Okay. I'll speak on that. We worked hard to get the redevelopment commission to take that building. They were very reluctant. They didn't know where to go. They struggled with it. They took it, they improved it, they used the rent money. We're probably operating 130, 40 jobs. The man that owns the company over there tells me we'll be operating 200 jobs by the end of the year. He's growing leaps and bounds. It's not high-paying jobs, but it really subsidizes incomes. We have the Hope Center upstairs, which, as you saw, Fran witnessed personally. He
Yes.
represented the city over there last weekend.
Quite impressed, yes.
We have our own TV station up there. This is money they want us to put out in the community to improve. I personally recommend that we okay this $35,000 to do improvements. I know the people personally that's borrowing the money. They've got excellent credit, and I think it's the thing we should do. I think that's what the money's for.
We have over $200,000 in that fund right now, so.
Could you repeat $35,000 at what?
2% interest for 5 years.
Do you know what kind of improvements, Katrina? that
Yes, they're
you're
gonna put in windows, fix the roof. He actually gave me many, many sheets of improvements. They're gonna put carpeting. They're gonna seal the mortar joints, plumbing, and heating. I think downstairs, the air
There's
conditioning.
one air conditioner.
Yeah.
I think the unit is out. I think you looked at that, didn't you, Ron?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Actually, they told me that they asked you for another one for downstairs.
He called and just asked an opinion of something, but
Oh, okay.
I haven't relooked at it, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was-
Besides the 35, are they using some of their own money too?
Yeah, because they're gonna be spending about $65,000.
Good. Fran, you were just there over the weekend. What do you think?
I'll tell you that the window in the executive director's office it's all fuzzy from the leaky.
It's leaked between the two panes of glass.
You can't see out the glass.
Mayor,
I think it's great that these people are doing this, taking the building and putting this kind of money into it. Because
Mayor, I'd like to go on the record and abstain from this one, because if I was asked to bid on that building, which I have not been, just so the public knows that, but I would like to abstain from this right now. Is that okay?
That's understandable, no
Thank you.
problem.
I think it's great that we can do this for people, and I welcome other folks that have businesses to come in and see Katrina and possibly get a loan to help make improvements.
I'll take a motion then.
I'll
if you're
make the
ready.
motion that we approve the Main Street loan request for the building.
Epic Enterprises.
Epic Center project. Okay.
Epic Enterprises.
Okay, thanks.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Anybody out there want to discuss it? Anybody here on behalf or against or for? None appearing, we'll have a roll call vote.
Mike Bishop,
Yes.
Leonard Gerben,
Yes,
Fran Schummel,
Yes.
Jane Oakley.
Yes.
you approve that. Thank you,
Thank
Katrina. Okay. Approval for this contract with the first aid unit. I think you have it in your packet. Service contract billing.
This is an annual service contract with Physio Control on our monitor. It helps us if we need repairs done. It gives us a 24-hour response time to get something there or someone there to help get it fixed.
This is the defibrillator in number, unit 1?
Yes.
It's a budgeted item? Okay.
It's an annual thing,
This is
correct?
annual,
Yeah, I remember from last year.
Yep.
I move we approve the service contract with Physio Control for the annual
Second.
agreement.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion?
I'll s-
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Resolution 2014-20, this is a transfer in the park, 1,324 from non-reverting into day camp, and I think you all know what we're doing here, pickleball and softball. We also have resolution 2014-21, $25.21 from office supplies into motor vehicle repair. I'd like to take those two together if you'll agree.
Mayor, I make a motion to, for resolutions 2014-20 and 2014-21 as written, to accept.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve pending resolution 2014-20 and 2014-21, all transfers within the budget. And any discussion?
No, sir.
Any at all? Any out there? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, department matters. Let's go first. David is not able to be with us today, but I believe Mary Ellen is going to do the job. Come on, Mary Ellen.
I can
Think
tell
we'll
she's
let you
excited.
retire without having to
The
do
way
my-
she comes
Look at that
up.
smile.
Mary Ellen's coming up to tell us that she's withdrawing her retirement and she's going to work 2 more years.
I apologize, I was caught off guard with my requested attendance at the meetings here. So it says update, I'm not quite sure what I can update you on. But I do have one request, and that is, I understand that the air conditioning at the office on Vine Street is no longer operable. And they requested 3 quotes. We got 2 quotes and 1 declined. And I have those quotes for you. I'm not a air conditioning person,
You're an air conditioner man, if you'll just read those for me.
I'm actually gonna have to abstain, because one of them is my quote.
Well, let me tell you, let me make the record real clear. A member of the Board of Works can do business with the city, he can sell things to the city, buy things from the city.
No, they're attached to that.
No, a member of the city council or the mayor cannot sell things to the city or buy things from the city, but there is no exclusion of the Board of Works. So, Ron, you're in good shape.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I guess
I believe that Cold Iron does have the lowest bid. There's 2 options on there, and one was for a 4-ton and one was 3.5 ton on the one from
Ron,
Connersville.
I know, I want you to read these
Okay,
to us, because you understand air conditioning.
okay.
All of them, yours too.
Okay, there's 2 bids, to share what's going on. There is actually 4 units in that building, Mary Ellen. These 2 are the 2 that are on the northern side of the building, which is the oldest part of the building. And we did look at them ourselves. The one quote is from Connersville Heating, dated May 15, 2014. And I have not seen this, so I'm gonna have to kind of review it here myself. Let me share this. When you're replacing air conditioning, by today's standards, because of new refrigerants, you have to change coils and line sets and outdoor units. So these are complete refrigeration units, all right? Matching replacement air conditioning option 1, this is from Connersville Heating. It's a Carrier 4-ton air conditioner, an evaporator coil, $5,350 for each unit, a total of $10,700. Their option 2 is a Payne 13 SEER 4-ton air conditioner and Carrier evaporator coil at $4,050. So what they've done, they've quoted a 16 SEER. SEER rating is efficiency standards. Their units will start at 13 and go up to about 20. So they've quoted a 13 SEER and a 16 SEER, which is a pretty nice unit. That is, and then they've got recommended replacement for air conditioning option 1 Well, I'm trying to find out why they give us another option here.
I think those are 3.5 ton instead of 4 ton.
Okay, yeah, then he dropped it to a 3.5 ton.
Yeah.
Which those are 4-ton units in there now, so I think, and I quoted just 4-ton units, so I think 3.5 is kind of
And
irrelevant.
I believe
Okay.
their quote was 10.7 and Cold Iron's quote was 10.2.
Yes.
Is that the only two quotes we have?
Yes, the others declined, said the job was too big for them and declined a bit.
So one's 10.7
And one's 10.2.
One's 10.2.
and one's 10.2.
10.2, 10.8.
Who's who?
Ron's a 10.
Cold Irons is at
We're replacing evaporators, refrigerant lines, condensers, and thermostats with touchscreen 7-day programmable. So I don't think they've addressed the stats on here, but to be fair, they would probably put them in there also, so. So you got one quote
I thought you said one air conditioner was out over there, two was out.
to, actually one is actually turned off, it's inoperable. The other one is just kind of patched up and they're just barely getting by with it.
Is there any other air conditioning in the building?
There's 2 other units on the south side that
Why is
are,
there so much air conditioning in one building?
I think that building was added on to.
I know, but why, there's only 7 people over there, why would they have so much air?
Well, I don't think it's got to do with people, it's got to do with square footage.
The size of the building.
Yeah.
I mean, the more people you have, the more air you gotta have.
Well, yeah,
No, the more square footage you have.
more square footage is a better way to look at it.
In a funeral home, when you got 100 people, you gotta have 3 times the air conditioning you have for.
Yeah. It's not too feasible to add on to a building and then, you know, you'd have to increase
How
the
many
size.
ton of air conditioning in that building total?
I would say that there's probably, I haven't looked at the 2 south units, but if they're equivalent to these, they would be close to 16 ton. If they're that size, yeah. But now bear in mind, you can't just go in there and tie those systems together. It'd be very inefficient to do that. Yeah, to try to tie these systems together.
How many square feet's in the building?
I don't know. I didn't measure the building. So. But believe me, you don't want to get into that. You're going to have more money involved in it to get into
Yeah,
that,
you
to try to
couldn't.
interface those systems together out there.
You have to run
Dude,
Yeah.
16 ton of air conditioning.
Yeah.
You couldn't redesign it to get it to.
Huh? Is that a lot?
On the Connersville heating thing, what's this bottom paragraph about, something about
The furnaces,
are not large enough for the airflow for a 4-ton? That's why he's recommending a 3.5.
The systems, what he's saying is, and I didn't run the model numbers of the air handlers, we were just sizing off what was there. But usually an air handler, I don't know of a furnace that goes with a 3.5 ton, but typically they'll go to somebody delivered to so much CFM. And they've had 4 tons. The original system that's in there is 4 tons, so I don't know, I'm not questioning his ability there, but I don't know
Sure.
why they're gonna change, yeah. I'm more concerned about the old duct system than anything. I think I put a note in there. There's could be an issue with accessing that attic because you've got a pull down stairwell. It's going to be a question as to how much the size equipment that you're going to get in that attic. And the lateral ducting there, I'll just tell the board right now, is original to the building and it's not in the best shape it ever was, but that's not addressed in this bid. That's
But all we're replacing is the outside units and the.
outdoor, indoor coils and
So
line
you gotta
sets.
put new coils in the units upstairs. The air handler's all in the attic.
Air handlers and active, yes. Coils, line sets, and condensers.
Do they use the large room that they added to the south of the building?
the conference room?
Is it
Yes.
used?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it?
they use that, that's where they have most of their meetings at. We have most of our meetings at for him.
Okay.
I mean, it isn't an everyday thing, but they use them.
Those coils look original in the early 70s. Don't even think about I would never recommend putting a condenser on those old coils. Not at that age.
You couldn't retrofit them either.
Okay, looks like to me we got a choice of 10.2 or 10.7.
I make a motion that we grant the bid to Cold Iron Heating and Plumbing for $10,210.
Any further discussion? Anybody out there? Have a roll call vote, Skipper on.
Mike Bishop. Mike Bishop.
Yes.
Leonard Urban.
Yes.
Fran Schommel.
Yes.
Jane Oakley.
Yes.
Well, if it don't work good, I can just sit here and yell at him.
There you go.
Because he said once he did this, everything would be perfect. Let the record show that.
Did we hear that?
Okay.
Did we hear that?
Well,
How many tons do we have in this building?
Is it there's a 10, and there's a 7.5, and there's a 2.5, so there's right around 20. Right around 20.
Well, unless anyone has any questions or anything, I don't know that I can answer.
Well, I can tell you on 21st Street, everything is going well. Dave would tell you this if he was here. We had some real unique problems up there on the upholstery shop, Whipple's Upholstery or Luckett's. The lateral that came out of there ran down the street in a clay pipe with bells on it, you know how the old-fashioned pipe was, and it hooked in to the manhole. So they called us up there, I think it was last Monday, and we looked at that. They had dug into it because it was not on the plan at all. So they dug into it and broke it, and they determined that they would put a plastic pipe into that old pipe about halfway down the street and run it to the manhole. And David and I didn't like that idea at all, because here we got this brand new street and we've dug underneath this 200 feet of bell pipe, which, Ron, you know how that is. It's like taking a railroad track apart. So after much consideration, we had $40,000 in contingency. I think you were up there, weren't you, Jane? And we decided to go ahead and run a new lateral from the upholstery shop into the manhole, and our guys cut the hole in the manhole because they didn't have the means to do it. And then about 2 days later, they came to me. We had the same problem. There were 2 houses up there were not identified in the plans with no laterals. So we got to looking, they were the same thing. We had dug underneath them, much shorter, and we went ahead and authorized that, and you'll probably see that on the next claim or in 2 weeks. But Ron, I think you would agree. I think I talked to you about it.
Yes, we had
That-
a short meeting on it.
We had no choice. We don't want to have a brand new street and then next year have to dig it up and fix a sewer line.
That makes sense.
But what I'm trying to tell you is, in the future, we need to watch when they plan these, that when you got 3 places on one street that don't show a sewer, there's something wrong with the plans. Because all that should have been shown on there. But anyway, we had no choice. John, do I have to get that approved, or it was in the contingency? I think we're okay, aren't we?
Well, yeah, it doesn't hurt to do it.
Okay.
Certainly doesn't hurt.
Well, Mayor, and kind of reinforcing that, I think it's pretty obvious if you've got, and I don't know how many buildings, but if you've got 20 buildings and you're only showing 17 sewer taps, it don't, not rocket science here, that you might be missing something on the print, so we kind of need to make our engineers aware.
Okay, they promised me there'll be no additional engineering. We did have to pay it in, and I know the one that we ran at the upholstery shop was $4,500, so I don't know what the other 2 were. So would you, someone make a motion that we're aware of that, and then if it comes up, we know where we are?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you.
You done with me?
Yes.
She's way too anxious.
On the first issue I brought you up here for, have you reconsidered?
No, sir, I have not.
You're pretty definite, or is it iffy?
It's not iffy, sir.
She's still in the paperwork.
I think it's no, right?
Just waiting on her first check.
All
But I
right.
appreciate that.
I talked to her pretty regular. I thought maybe I'd softened her up some.
Not yet.
Oh, did you hear that?
Yes.
I haven't heard him double my salary.
Oh, but sit down. What would it take to get you to stay 2 more years?
Wow.
Double salary.
She just said double her salary.
I can't do that, you know. Hey, I want to tell you something. We're into this sewer separation. We're into IDEM with all their crazy regulation, just driving us nuts. And we got so many things coming down the road. Her job is so critical down there right now.
Very.
We should not change if we can at all. I would be willing to go, listen, if you're interested in staying at a little bit higher dollar, I want this board to listen to you.
Would you consider it, Mary Ellen? I know it's an on-the-spot question, but it...
No, it's not on the spot. I've been talking to her for
Well,
weeks.
so have I, but it doesn't matter. It just...
Probably not, but.
Well, you're cold, you know.
No, she said probably. That means...
No.
I mean to know.
Yeah.
That's,
I think it's between my family and some other issues, I think.
Would you put something together what it would take to get you to stay a year or 2 years?
I might just give her the check.
I am serious. I mean, we're losing the utility director, the office manager, and her within 2 months.
Yeah.
And her job is critical right now to keeping that thing going. And she knows it from A to Z.
Are you sure you haven't had anybody apply for it yet?
Well, go look on my desk. I haven't seen any.
Maybe at least till the end of the year.
Now, how's that gonna help the perf situation?
Well, I don't know.
That doesn't,
I'd like to take that perf situation and take it down.
That's right.
Mary Ellen, would you think about it and let me know if you do?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
And I don't mind the record showing.
Right now, right?
Okay, we have an issue in the police department, and David, are you prepared to make a recommendation?
Yes, I am.
Well, let me give you a little background, or do you want to give the background? Or you want me to?
Go ahead, you got paperwork in front of you.
Okay, the background of this is, it's been headlined in the paper a couple of times, so we all know. Officer Jason Richardson has got a protective order against him that he cannot carry his service revolver or a gun or ammunition or any type of a deadly weapon. This protective order has been extended for 2 years. It expires, I think, in May of 2016. The chief of police last week told me that he had suspended Officer Richardson for 5 days, which he had a right to do under the law, because he can't carry a gun, which it makes it difficult to be a police officer. I reviewed with the Board of Works at the executive session all of the pertinent information I didn't think needed to be aired on TV. It was basically personnel issues, and now it's time for the chief of police to make a recommendation to you, and you have to make your decision in a public meeting. And the 5 days, I believe, is up to date. Is that right, Chief?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So if you've got a recommendation, we'll listen.
I recommend that Officer Richardson be dismissed because he cannot carry a firearm by court order. And he can't carry a firearm, a tool of the trade, you can't be a police officer. It's pretty cut and dry. I'll leave that to you, to the board here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
Mr. Baker has prepared 2 resolutions. Have you all had the opportunity to read them?
Well, I think there's only one resolution pending before the...
Yeah. And I sent you a letter. Have you had the opportunity to read that?
Yes.
I've also prepared a notice to Officer Richardson regarding his right to a hearing. Mayor, that's probably what you're talking about.
If this board decides to dismiss Officer Richardson, then he's entitled to a public hearing, at which time we would hear the case completely and make the, I suppose, final determination. During the period between here and whether he asks or doesn't ask for a public hearing, he will be paid. After that, he would not be paid if he's found that the suspension holds, or if he doesn't ask for a public hearing.
Well, Mayor, I think what the resolution does is acknowledge the recommendation of the Chief of Police that the officer be dismissed, and because of his inability and his incapacity to serve as a police officer of the city of Connersville due to his inability to possess a firearm and ammunition and so on. And also states that before said recommendation is followed, Officer Richardson will continue to be suspended with pay, and pursuant to Indiana Code 36834, Officer Richardson may request a hearing before the Board of Public Works and Safety within 5 days after receipt of a notice which will be served on him today, I understand. And if he so requests that hearing, it will be set in the notice that he receives, and we'll have to fill it in the resolution here. At which time the Board of Public Works and Safety will hear evidence to determine if Officer Richardson should be dismissed as a police officer of the city of Connersville. However, if he fails to request a hearing as set out above, you've indicated in your resolution that the recommendation of the chief of police will be followed. The notice advises him of the fact that he's entitled to a hearing, where it will be, when it will be, and if he fails to request a hearing, the recommendation of the chief of police will be followed. The charge against the officer pursuant to Indiana Code is incapacity in that he's unable to serve as a police officer for the city of Connersville, Indiana, without the ability to possess firearms. And the specific conduct that comprises the charges against him are the terms and conditions of the protective order whereby he's prohibited from using or possessing firearms, ammunition, or deadly weapons. And all those have been returned to the city that were owned by the city of Connersville. And for that reason, he was suspended without pay for 5 days, which terminates today. Also, he's entitled to an attorney at law at the hearing. He's entitled to call and cross-examine witnesses. He's entitled to require the production of evidence, and he's entitled to have subpoenas issued, served, and executed in Fayette County, Indiana.
All this will be placed in the minutes should you decide to pass this resolution. Discussion. Anybody would like to discuss? Will you come forward to the podium, please?
My name is Jennifer Richardson, and there's a couple of issues I would like to bring to the board's attention. Attorney Philip Schuler from Allen, Wellman, and McNew out of Greenfield is being retained to represent Jason to appeal the no contact order. Jason does have a right to appeal the no contact order within 30 days and will be doing so. Attorney Philip Schuler did contact Chief Counselor about attending this meeting today, and Chief Counselor told him that they were not seeking out termination today. So I find this very disturbing that this is actually what is happening. How do you terminate someone who is still in the appeal process of the no contact order? There has been many legal violations throughout the course of this no contact order, and I personally was brought into both sides of this. And I know for a fact that Chief Counselor has requested that people file no contact orders against Jason without even cause to do so. I myself went in to ask for information on seeking out a no contact order against a female and who had personally attacked me. At that time, I was advised by Chief Counselor to actually seek out the no contact order against Jason. I had no grounds of which to do that because Jason and I had had absolutely no contact for 7 months prior to me going into the office. While I was in Florida, Chief Counselor also involved himself personally in the no contact order, which is also a violation of Jason's rights, sending information through fax machines to my family's home to Lori MacGyver, assisting her with the no contact order. And I'm also personally aware and see with my own eyes and ears that Amy, the judge's secretary, helped and assisted Lori with filling out the no contact order because the original one that she put in did not have the proper wording in it to have a no contact order passed. So she had much assistance from places that she should not have been receiving them from, such as the judge's secretary and Chief Counselor. I heard many conversations between Ms. MacGyver and Chief Counselor while we were down in Florida that were of a friendly, not a professional nature. Basically, it seems more like a personal vendetta with Chief Dave Counselor and Jason. I have known Jason for 6 years, and I also know that when these issues with Ms. MacGyver began, Jason personally went to Chief Counselor to express his concern of harassment against him. This lady has continuously
harassed him for over 2 years in ways that are unspeakable in a public hearing such as this.
This is not a public hearing.
No. Well, I really don't want to. There were just many things done to push and push and push Jason. And although Jason being a police officer, he's also human. He is human. And when someone attacks you and is constantly attacking your family, your wife, your children, your job, and you try to find resolution by going to your chief and get told that, in his own words, that he knows she's a crazy because he had altercations with him himself with Ms. MacGyver, and then it be brushed under the rug and not even be addressed, I feel that that's a problem. And when things like this build and build and build over a course of time, and knowing the hardships that Jason was going through even at the time, we lost our 2-year-old granddaughter in a house fire. We had many things going on in our life. Jason did seek out proper channels to get help with Ms. MacGyver, and they were completely dismissed by the chief. Nothing. He had no help. So when you push a person so far, of course someone is going to say something back. We are human. We're all human. Jason has feelings just like everyone else. And I know that he gives an appearance of a hard, harsh, intimidating person, but I can tell you that he is not that person. In fact, I have made phone calls to you, Mayor, personally, about even recent events where Jason and I, in our own private, personal time, was in a separate county dealing with something with our grandchildren. Dave Counselor takes it upon himself to call Delaware County Police and tell them that Jason was to be removed from the situation and that he was under investigation, defaming Jason in another county to another police department in a matter that was none of Chief Counselor's business. It was our personal time. It was not phallus or mal in any way for Jason to be there taking care of a situation that involved our grandchildren. It had nothing to do with the city of Connersville, his position as a police officer. He was not violating any laws in that county at all. And Jason was removed from the situation that we were trying to resolve. And as a result of that, now we're fighting for grandchildren that we shouldn't be fighting for. It's obvious, and this will all come out in due time, but there's definitely a personal issue between the two of them. It is common knowledge. Mayor, we've discussed this before, you and I. I mean, to try to terminate his position when he's still in a process of appealing is wrong. It is wrong. After 14 years, Jason does not deserve that. After 14 years of serving this county, the city, and doing good, a baseball coach, a basketball coach, Jason has done many things for the community, even outside of his police work. He has served good efforts towards many children of this community. And he goes beyond that. He helps many people with so many things I can't even begin to tell you the good things he's done. But it seems to me everybody wants to focus on the bad things. You know, all of us have feelings, all of us have issues, all of us have worries. But to terminate Jason after 14 years of good service, and I'm really getting tired of seeing these things in the newspaper that keeps being brought up, the issue in 2012, well, him calling in sick for work and attention being brought to him, he's suspended for that? Well, I was part of that night. I know what happened that night. But do you know how many police officers call in sick for work and they're down at the ball field coaching their children's team? I call that bringing attention to yourself when you've called in sick. You know how many of our officers have called in sick and they're posting pictures on Facebook?
Ms. Richardson, hold it. That issue is nothing to do with this. I told the board that has nothing to do with this.
The reason I brought that up is because you brought up the headliners in the newspaper, and that's part of those headliners.
I just said that everybody knows what's going on here because it's been in the newspaper twice.
So I guess my point
The
then...
only issue here today is incapacity to carry a gun. That's the only issue here.
And that could very likely change.
Is that right, Mr. Baker?
Well, yeah, and we know that there's more than likely going to be an appeal of the protective order. That would be standard operating procedure.
There will be an appeal.
Yeah, but what this does is put Jason on suspension with pay until he has his public hearing before the Board of Works.
A suspension with pay is one thing, but to terminate him,
This doesn't terminate him.
no.
This puts him on suspension with pay until he has his hearing before the Board of Works, unless he fails to request a hearing. If he fails to request a hearing, then this resolution says that recommendation will be followed.
I can assure you that Jason will continue on through the due process of law to protect his job.
Well, he'll request a hearing. He has an attorney already, so we're assuming that. So he just now gets paid instead of not being paid. That's the difference.
But what
Until
I'm
he
hearing
has
is
his
chief
hearing.
counselor requesting termination.
Ma'am,
Well,
excuse me,
that's
how are
his-
you associated with Mr. Richardson? Are you his wife or his?
Jason and I are still legally married, but we have not been together for about a year and a half now.
Mr.
So
Baker,
it is not,
is the Board of Works following this exactly to the letter of the law?
Well, as best I can tell, it is.
We have to depend on you.
Sure you do. Why, there are state statutes that provide what an officer is entitled to if it's been recommended that he be dismissed. And what we are doing is giving him his rights and his due process hearing and all the things that are required by law for him to be given. So, I'm just assuming that we'll hear from his attorney and he'll, once this notice is served on the officer of his statutory rights, and he'll request a hearing and so on.
so that there is no assumptions, there is an attorney retained. Jason is going through the appeal process.
Well,
It will be done.
I was talking about an attorney for this particular matter.
Yes, the attorney will also be dealing with that particular matter as well. I can assure you of that, that is not an assumption. And all I'm asking for now is some time, some compassion for.
The law sets out all the time. What's the timetable, John?
Well, he should request his public hearing within 5 days of the time that he's notified of the notice that I referred to.
How does he receive that notice?
It'll be served to him personally or by certified mail. And
When you say, who's going to serve it to him then?
officer, counselor, or
Whoever he recommends.
chief counselor or assistant chief Perkins, or who are set up to serve at one or the other or both. Then within 14 days of that service, no sooner than 14 days, it must the hearing be set, so it has to be after 14 days, and it must be held within 30 days. So during that time frame, that 14-day period and 30-day period, he will have a due process hearing, at which time he can be represented by counsel, call and cross-examine witnesses, require production of evidence, and have subpoenas issued in his behalf.
I understand all that.
Good.
Thank you. I'm just asking that Jason's job not be put at jeopardy at this time, that he is permitted the time to go through the due process. I don't think 14 years
That's
is.
exactly what this does.
And if I understand, this resolution says he is suspended with pay and pending the outcome of the hearing before the Board of Works.
Yeah, assuming he asks for a hearing, which I'm sure.
Assuming he asks for a hearing.
Yes.
Right. That's right. That's exactly right. Yeah.
And that's what
So
we're.
you're not seeking out termination on him today?
No. Only if he fails to request a hearing.
That won't happen. We will be requesting a hearing.
Does the board understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody else out there like to speak? You want to speak?
Yeah. I'm Brittany Griffin. I'm his stepdaughter. The only thing I want to add, just obviously Jason has served for 14 years, and I understand the process. I don't know what options there are. I mean, if it were not to go to his favor at the end of this process,
if there were any office jobs through the department that he could obtain, since he has put in 14 years of service to the community, not just necessarily terminating him. And also with the personal incident that my mother was talking about with Jason, that was my children that were involved. Jason went to Muncie with me as my stepdad, not as a police officer. Him and I were inside of the school where my children were at, and...
Well, that has nothing to do with this. The only issue here today is the fact that he can't carry a gun. That's the only issue.
Right.
We're not considering anything else,
Okay.
just that fact.
Okay.
He's incapacitated because he can't carry a gun. I don't know if you were in our position, what you would do.
Right.
Now, you asked the question about an office job. We've had 2 or 3 officers in the past that have broken an arm or broke a leg. We don't have a desk job that we can offer. We couldn't offer it to them. One of them took early retirement. In fact, 2 of them did.
Right.
But we're a small police department with 1 secretary, and we're under a financial crunch. And we looked at that. I talked with John about that. I said, can an officer that don't carry a gun do something else?
Right.
And to be out on the street in today's world, as mean as it is, you about have to have a gun.
Right, absolutely.
And that's the issue at hand,
Right.
is the gun issue.
Yeah.
And I told John I wanted to follow the law exactly like we're doing, that he's dismissed as of today with pay, pending this hearing before this board.
Right.
That time, we will hear from everybody that wants to speak and from his attorney.
Great.
Okay.
Great.
And then, so you know, and I think, John, you've got the thing ready to send to him if this passes?
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay, yes, my only thing was just bringing up the idea of maybe an office job, because I understand the firearm thing that you guys are saying, so I didn't know if that had been brought to your attention.
It had,
and
and we
stuff you had
just-
been thinking about or not, so.
We discussed it.
Wasn't Officer Davison, while she was injured, didn't she actually obtain some kind of desk job for quite some time before she took her retirement? What about the officers that go around just tagging cars? That they don't need a service weapon to do something like that.
No, at this time, we don't have one of those because, can't afford it.
Well,
over the
you're
last-
offering to pay people other money for other positions, more money. Why wouldn't we have the money for something like that?
We did away with our part-time detective.
Yes.
And we did away with the officer, the ordinance enforcer, because we just didn't have the money in the budget.
Okay, because
So we're not carrying
I
that.
did, I was
We're
pretty sure-
asking the captains on the police department to do their work, and that, they're doing it, they're doing a good job.
Yes, but for some reason I thought that Officer Richardson did have a desk job for quite some time before she actually took her retirement.
I don't remember if she did or not. Did Heidi Davidson work
Heidi
in?
did some temporary work when her arm was broken, but it was for a short period of time. It wasn't allowed to last very long.
So even a short time period while he's going through the 30-day appeal of his no contact order, I think would also maybe be a fair consideration.
Well, I think that'd probably all be brought out in the hearing, right, John?
It'll all run simultaneously. He'll be with pay.
I also feel that the city should be extending some kind of services for Jason going through this. This is very emotionally disturbing for him.
We have a chaplaincy service. Has he
I'm
contacted the
talking
chaplain?
Beyond chaplain services, I feel that Jason should be entitled to some counseling.
He does. We have good insurance. He's on the insurance, and I'm sure there's something in there. I think you should contact him or ask one of the girls in the office to give you a United Healthcare representative. On the back of your card, there's where you can call and ask questions.
Sure.
Right, there's an 800 number.
I will-
Call
I
that
will
number, but I'm
trust
sure
them.
that we have, I'm reasonably sure that we have
Services available.
services available for
under
counseling,
insurance.
yeah.
Okay, because he will maintain his insurance and benefits through the duration of this, yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, now do you need to read the entire resolution again, John?
I don't think so unless you want it read.
Does the board want it read again?
No.
No, sir.
Everybody out there is okay? Okay, I'll take a motion then. Did you number this as a resolution, John?
I have not.
And I have to assign it a number.
2014-22.
2014-22. Am I in line with that? This will be resolution 2014-22. further discussion? Roll call vote.
Ron Coldiron,
Is to approve.
Approve
Yes.
the resolution.
Yes.
Mayor, would you mind reading that resolution one more time?
I thought you might ask that. I'll have
Thank
my
you.
radio friend just read it.
Thank you.
Make sure it's right now.
I got the right one.
you're reading the resolution, right?
Wait.
What's the
You're reading
time?
the resolution or
That's the notice. to go
Okay, here's
through.
what it is.
Sure.
That's off, that's not the
That's not
resolution.
it.
No,
Resolution's
Yeah,
in
that's
here.
it.
This is it, right here.
okay, here it
That's not
is.
it.
This is the okay.
It's in the back. Yeah.
No, but it's not the right one.
Oh, there it is.
No, there's two of them.
Regarding dismissal.
No, I had the right one. Here it is. Right here. Jane,
Right, this
this is the right one.
Yes.
Oh, John Hayden, okay, John Hayden.
Okay.
There it is, right here.
Okay, this talks about this.
Yep, that's it. That's the one.
I thought it was something with pay or something.
It is with pay.
Okay. A resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Connersville, Indiana, regarding dismissal of a police officer. Whereas pursuant to the terms of the Order of Protection issued to Officer Jason D. Richardson by the Fayette County Superior Court on May 14, 2014, prohibiting said officer from using or possessing a firearm, ammunition, or deadly weapon, and further ordering said officer to surrender his Connersville City Police Service weapon. Said officer has been required to turn into the Chief of Police all firearms owned by the Connersville Police Department, including his service weapon, shotgun, and ammunition, and due to his inability to serve as a police officer without these firearms, he was suspended without pay for 5 days until the Board of Public Works and Safety met on this date of May 19, 2014. And whereas the Chief of Police has recommended to the Board of Public Works and Safety that Officer Richardson be dismissed as a police officer of the City of Connersville for the reasons set out in the terms of the Order of Protection, and due to his incapacity to serve as a police officer of the city due to his inability to possess a firearm. And whereas, before said recommendation is followed, Officer Richardson will continue to be suspended with pay, and pursuant to Indiana Code 36-8-3-4, Officer Richardson may request a hearing before the Board of Public Works and Safety within 5 days after receipt of a notice which is being served this date on Officer Richardson, which notice must be at least 14 days before the date for the hearing, which hearing shall be held not more than 30 days after a hearing is requested by Officer Richardson. And whereas, if requested by Officer Richardson, the hearing will be conducted on a date and time to be determined at the City Council Chambers in the City Building, 500 Central Avenue, Connersville, Indiana, 47331, at which time the Board of Public Works and Safety will hear evidence to determine if Officer Richardson should be dismissed as a police officer of the City of Connersville. However, if Officer Richardson fails to request a hearing as set out above, the recommendation of the Chief of Police will be followed by the Board of Public Works and Safety, and Officer Richardson will be dismissed as a Connersville City Police officer as the Board of Public Works and Safety finds that Officer Richardson has incapacity as set out in Indiana Code 36-8-3-4 B2D, in that he is unable to serve as a Connersville City Police officer due to his inability to possess a firearm. Now therefore, be it resolved that if requested by Officer Richardson, a hearing will be held as set out above before the Board of Public Works and Safety to hear evidence to determine if Officer Richardson should be dismissed, and if a hearing is not requested by Officer Richardson, after a notice is given to him within 5 days, as provided by statute, Officer Richardson is hereby dismissed as a Connersville City Police Officer. Adopted by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Connersville, Indiana, this blank day of May 2014.
Mr. Baker, may I ask one question then? So the dismissal will only happen
Come to the
if,
podium, will you?
my question to you, Mr. Baker, is that there's only going to be an immediate termination if Jason chooses not to follow the due process asking for these hearings. Is that correct?
He has 5 days to request it.
And as long as that is done, at that point, Jason will not be terminated at this
He
time?
will not, he'll be suspended with pay.
Suspension with pay?
Yeah,
Thank you.
until he's hearing.
Yes, thank
And
you.
then
Oh, wait a minute, now, I want to be sure you answered the question. Until his hearing, he's suspended with pay.
pay.
But after the hearing, it's the determination of the board that stands.
Certainly, sure. It's the ruling of the board.
So today is the final day of his 5-day suspension.
That's
So
right.
So beginning tomorrow, Jason will be earning income again.
That's correct.
And he will continue to do so unless...
Until his hearing.
Until there's a
And
hearing.
then he'll either be placed on permanent suspension, or he'll,
No, that's not the option. The option will he'll be dismissed or not.
okay, then that decision will be whether he's dismissed or not dismissed. Is that right?
That's the way the resolution is. Yes, that's the answer, yes.
So you understand that clearly?
So
I
my
don't want you to
understanding,
be-
Mr. Baker, is he has 5 days to request a hearing.
Right.
The hearing is to be granted within 30 days,
It must be held within 30 days.
held within 30 days,
And it can't be any sooner than 14 days.
any sooner than 14 days. And Jason is, as of tomorrow, suspended with pay throughout the duration. And as long as he goes through this process, he will not be terminated until he comes before the Board of Works and is heard.
Right. That's correct. I think you got it.
Thank you.
Sir, come on to the podium here.
One thing I wanted to ask Mr. Baker is, if he's suspended, why with pay? Is that the law? I mean, if you're suspending him, why should he be paid?
He's suspended with pay until his administrative hearing.
Okay, well, why, is that the law? That's the way it's gotta be? I mean, you're suspending him, right? You're suspending him, but why pay him for being suspended and he can't do nothing for the city?
That was the choice of the Board of Works.
Okay.
May I answer that, Mr. Baker, or would you rather I didn't?
Oh, well, I think it's been answered, but if you want to go further, you may.
We felt that until the board hears the entire case, you know, in America, you're not guilty till you're proven guilty. And we thought that was the line that we should follow, that it's just the best idea. And then
I
we
just
will-
can't understand it. Maybe that's
Well-
the good old law for us, though.
Well, he has a
I mean, I
right,
don't
he has a right to be heard.
Yeah, oh, yes, I
Okay.
agree with that. I'm not
And
saying
so-
he's guilty or not guilty.
Okay,
I'm
what-
just wondering why pay.
If we stopped his pay today, we would assume he was guilty. That's not right. We're gonna hear him. We're gonna hear his case. His lawyer's gonna come in here and hear it.
Mr. Council suspend him for 5 days without pay?
That's the law. He can do that. He has the right to do that.
But the board's got the right to pay.
We could have suspended him without pay if we wanted to. We chose not to.
But it was the court that said that he couldn't carry a weapon.
That was a civil matter. That he got a protective order against him, and they said he can't carry a gun.
Okay.
Not a
Thank you.
criminal matter, a civil matter. One individual sued another individual.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more small question. Now this is drawn out. I was wondering, you guys said that he has a right to appeal within 5 days and the hearing has to be held within 30 days. in front of the Board of Works, and on that date, you guys will determine if you terminate him or not.
Right.
He is in the process of appealing this no contact order, which is really the only grounds, the no contact order, him not being able to carry a firearm, to actually terminate him. So what if that appeal with the court date where they're appealing the no contact order isn't within those 30 days? Then what?
The attorney can ask for an extension.
Okay, I was just making sure that that didn't need to happen and be appealed within the 30 days. Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion?
No, sir.
Did we vote or?
That's it.
So, anybody make a motion?
We didn't have a motion, no.
Okay, I need a motion.
I'll make the motion that we pass the resolution, again, 2014-22.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? None appearing, we'll have a roll call vote.
Ron Coldiron,
Yes.
Mike Bishop,
Yes.
Leonard Urban,
Yes.
Fran Schomel,
Yes.
Jane Oakley.
Yes.
Okay, you've passed resolution 2014-22, and I think we all understand what it is. Okay, First Aid Unit Commander Dale Munson.
A couple weeks ago, we were contacted by ABS Building, our billing agency, and they have came back with a request that we should look at raising our ambulance rates a little bit. And to do that, we're looking at, they want to raise our mileage, which is at this time is $12 per mile to 16. Our ALS 1 runs are 600 now. They're asking to go to 1100. Our ALS 2 is roughly 750.
Would you describe what the ALS 1
Okay,
is?
an ALS 1 run would be such as we put a monitor on, we start an IV, oxygen. An ALS 2 is where we would give pain medicine plus everything else. And then a BLS run is just basically an oxygen type run and a broken arm, broken leg, something like that, a minor type run. And it's will stay at about $500. So by doing this, it would raise our annual income roughly $15,000 to $20,000 a year.
Dale, can you repeat the ALS2 going from 750 to what again?
ALS 2 go roughly 750 to 1,300.
Okay, thank you.
And the one
is 600 to 1,100.
And what's the B, is that BLS?
BLS will stay at 500, which is what it is now.
Was that in pretty good perspective there?
By raising that up, that brings us up to the average of the insurance companies, what they will pay. It will not affect Medicare, Medicaid. It will just be private insurance mainly.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Can we do this, or does it have to go before
Oh,
council?
we have to recommend it to the
To the council.
council to set rates.
I'll make a motion, Your Honor, that we send this ambulance billing rate recommendation to council for their consideration.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, we ask the council to consider this Velasco tonight. If this passes, any further discussion? Anybody out there have any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.
Thanks, Dale.
Old business,
I have one.
go ahead.
The Wessler agreement for the wellhead protection program,
Yes.
was that finalized?
Yes, it
Ron?
was.
Okay.
We had a discussion with Dave Nutty on this, and we reviewed the old contract versus the new contract. There's actually a decrease in the average rate. There's a little bit of an increase if there's an overcharge. The slightly hour was, per hour rate was up slightly, very little, but there's actually a decrease in the basic charge. And with the fact that Westlers has already got all the preempted stuff, this thing's already ongoing, it'd be pretty non-productive not to go with them. So we recommended to stay with Westlers on this particular application.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything else under old business?
Yes, I did contact the appraisers on getting some land appraised for just seeing a cost factor on pursuing the ball field. And Mr. Napodi out of Richmond is going to do that along with another appraiser out of Richmond. And he said it'd be after Memorial Day before he would get to it.
Did you get a price?
Yes, it's a $2,000 fixed price. that is for both appraisers.
Right.
It's collective.
We felt like we had to get the appraisal before we could start raising money. We already have raised $1,000, by the way, for that ballpark. Anything else under old business? Parking tower sections, I'm not sure what that is. What is that, Melissa?
Pardon?
What's parking tower sections?
That was the email in your folder you wanted on the agenda.
Okay, sometimes I ask for something. In the back of the folder?
Yeah. It's that.
Street.
Was it that it is right?
Oh, should have put windmills on there, I'd have known in a minute. I have given permission for the windmill company to park their trucks along the road that is in the industrial park on both sides. We could not find a place to park those trucks that are that long. They'll unload the windmills at the airport, they'll put them on big trucks, and before they're put out, they have to be stationed. There'll be security there all the time, and I need you to ratify that that is okay. I had to do it because it's a $33,000 contract and I didn't want to lose it. I believe that street is either 55 or 60 feet wide, and it's concrete, and it's all busted to pieces anyway. We're going to allow them to park on there while they're waiting for their logistics to tell them when they can leave, because they all have to be escorted up the road. We tried a dozen different places in Connersville to park those things without having to turn around corners. If you reverse that, I'll have to go back and tell them they can't do it. We intend to start unloading those just shortly.
27th, I believe, Mayor. 27th.
I think I need Union Pacific Distribution Services, UPDS.
I move we allow Union Pacific Distribution Services to use the roadway inside Industrial Park.
Now, I think in your package you might have a map of it. It's this road right here.
We didn't get that. While they're queued for their escorts off that property.
Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I got the 21st Street laterals. I talked to you about that, and the Grand Avenue meter. Which one? Melissa, what are we talking about, Grand Avenue meter?
That's what you told me to put down, to remind you. And laterals and converse.
I got the laterals, but I can't figure it. Plus,
There was a meter.
It was the one that was covered with a tree.
okay. That was just an incident. We had a water meter that was actually under a tree, and it was reported to us by an individual, and we went up and checked it out. It was under a tree, so we authorized the utility to take that meter out, relocate it, so that the customer could cut the tree down. It was all rotten. Oh, Melissa, Grand Avenue meter. She'd have put meter under the tree, it would have hit me in the hand.
Real literal.
We got that all taken care of last week, and I don't think I need an okay, but I did want you to know why we did that. Okay. Meter under a tree. If she painted a porch, she wouldn't put on their wet paint, it'd say not dry. Okay, that's all I have. Under miscellaneous business, anybody have anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Claims. Diane?
Utilities, excuse me, water was $131,876.09, of which $72,675 was in bonds. Sewer was $107,663.11, also was $25,000 of that was bond transfer. Stormwater was down $7,835.29. Trash was running about the same, $46,376.46 for a total of $293,750.95.
The city claims totaled 184. The money was $96,660.03, which is up from the preceding 2 weeks, but we had several large ones in there that we don't have very often. Lisa, can you tell me what the Fayette County Sheriff Drug Coalition reimbursement idea conference was?
I can't be certain. It's training that the rough drug does. I mean, that's all grant money.
Okay,
That's not actually budgeted money, that's just grant money, so,
so we're just transferring it through and
correct.
to them, okay. We had several big ones. We spent over $4,000 on chlorine for the pool for the summer. $27,853 to haul our trash to the landfill over at Morristown. We had the fire turnout gear of $8,300. Did we get reimbursed for that?
We did, we got
Okay.
reimbursed for that.
And we had some other big ones, Duke Energy, $9,228 for electricity for City Hall. So it's easy to see why we're up a little bit from previous 2 weeks, but.
It's more than City Hall, it's lights all over.
Yes, I know, it encompasses many buildings, yes.
Anything else on claims?
No, sir.
What kind of issue do we have on the landfill overhead doors? $1,847.
Those, I remember, let's see, we had them repaired.
It had to be busted because that's a whole door, that big door.
No, it's not.
No.
It- no, it
That's
was-
just probably a panel, as
It
big
was
as those doors
repaired.
are.
There are two doors down there, right?
It was repair. And I knew about it at the time, but I can't
It's
recall.
a high repair bill.
Believe me, it's repair. Those are big doors.
That's what I was gonna say.
A lot of weight.
Yep.
Anything else on claims?
No, I move we accept the claims for payment as they've been submitted to the board.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second, we accept the claims. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Public forum. Anybody else got anything? I think we've run through. Fire chief, have you got anything?
You wanna say something about Wade audit?
That's the 7th. Do we have another meeting in between?
Yeah.
Do it too soon.
I don't think I'll say anything about that today then. I think we'll just get through today. Anybody else have anything at all? Okay. Not appearing. I'd take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Got a motion to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried.